And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Actually, a listener, a semi-listener nowadays. The guy who's asking the question.
He listens with the semi, or he only listens to half the episodes?
I'd say a bit of both, actually, knowing him. Yeah, complete horn dog.
I'm a little bit disappointed that anyone could listen with only a semi.
Yes.
But by all means, ask the question, Steve.
Good evening and welcome to Is It a Bicycle? Season 9, actually it is Season 9, Season 9, Episode 4, the original and bestest ever TV and movie podcast. My name is Stephen Wrigley and I'll be your host for this evening. Beside me I have a man who went food shopping on an empty stomach and is now proud owner of Aisle 5. It's Mike McDonough. Live from Vegas, we have a man who's pretty annoyed his name is not mentioned in Mambo number 5. It's Sean. And in the red corner, it's our cuddly killer, who may or may not join us. He's a man who says they used to be called jumpalines until Mike jumped on one. It's Mark, superhero Leonard. This week we'll be discussing some movies in the shape of Trainwreck and Mission Impossible 5, and some TV in the shape of Wet Hot American Summer, First Day at Camp. We'll also have some... Oh, what, sorry?
There's a multiple.
It is indeed, yeah. We'll also have some news and some previews and coming to a bicycle near you. So how are we doing, guys?
Fantastic, Steve.
Very good. Good to hear it.
Grand.
Good. What have you been up to?
Anything? Me?
Anyone?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose I could talk to you guys about the somewhat harrowing experience of going to what is essentially a focus screening, a preview screening of a film.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I had hoped to be able to share a lot of juicy details with you guys about the upcoming movie Creed, the Rocky spin-off / sequel starring Michael B. Jordan and Sylvester Stallone. However, the sheer level of security and contracts and photographs they took of my face and my identification are persuading me quite vociferously that I should not, in fact, release any details about the film. So basically we were waiting for a fairly long while, and you have to fill out a sheet of info while you're doing it, but then you flip it over and you start reading the rest of the sheet, and because they want to know your age, your race, they want to figure out what demographic you're in, because they're trying to get people from every possible group they can, so they can focus test it that way.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting even in and of itself, but then you get to the part at the bottom where it talks about how they ask if you're press, and they say, do you attest that all this is true? And obviously, if you were to share any details about this, you could be sued for up to $1 million. And then they go, okay, show us your ID. Yeah, okay, cool. Now we're just going to take a picture of you and your ID. Great, we have that now, and your name. So I'd rather not be sued by New Line Cinema and 20th Century Fox. But what I will say is
$1 million
I can talk about the screening.
Yeah. It could be worth it. Sorry, you were going to say, Sean? I
can talk about the actual screening itself, not the movie, but what they wanted, because it was it's just interesting to me that this was happening for almost every movie, probably every movie that's released.
Is
right?
This like pre-editing being finished, that they go and give it public viewing, and then they get feedback, and then they go back to editing it?
Mm-hmm. They specify clearly in verbally and on the thing that it's an unfinished product, which is part of the reason they don't want you to record any of it, or, there's a reason that they wand you at security to make sure you've no electronics and no one's phone is allowed to enter, and they will find it. It's so fucking... Anyway, so, and you could tell a little bit, it was believable that their things will change. But anyway, we go in, they explain all that to us, we watch the film, again, New Line Cinema. I'm not going to release any details, it's fine, please leave me alone. But afterwards, they come around and everyone gets a little thing to fill out, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was very interested in the questions on it, because I think that some of them are boilerplate, and then there's always a few questions that are tailored to the movie. So, for example, one of the things was they ask you about the pacing of the movie. So they ask you, was it, too quick, too slow, or just right? And they ask you about the beginning of the movie, the middle of the movie, the end of the movie. They ask you, did you like the action? Did you like the fights, for example, because it's a boxing movie. They ask, do you like the fights? And stuff like that. But then they get even more specific. They're like, did you come to see this movie because of, and then it lists a bunch of people in the movie. It's like the director, Ryan Coogler, or yada, yada, yada. Did you come because it was an interesting concept? Did you come because, just various questions that you could obviously, they could definitely learn a lot, And I noticed that they were actually walking around picking a few people from each age group, ethnic group or whatever, so that they could bring them to a somewhere else later and focus test with them specifically. Like just chat with them about the film afterwards. And then, give those notes to the studio, who would then pass those notes along to the director, who would then hopefully ignore them.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Which begs the question, if this is done for all the big movies, why are there so many crap blockbusters?
Well, here's the thing, right? Because if you let a bunch of people just decide on what goes into your movie, rather than you actually having the gumption and the correct idea about it, you're going to end up. Have you ever heard the phrase when you try and get when you try and get a group to make a horse, you end up with a camel.
Right.
Because everyone has a slightly different idea of what a horse looks like. So all the parts are there, but they're in weird, awkward places, and there's too much of them, and they look stupid. And we were wondering, right? There was 2 screens both showing it at the exact same time. And I was wondering, and again, no plot details, but I was wondering, did they maybe have 2 different endings? And they were trying to see which one tested better.
Yeah. Well, they
because
did
that's what I would have done.
Yeah. They did have a couple of endings, didn't they, from Mission Impossible 5?
I believe they did.
I believe they did, yeah. So,
and indeed, what was it? 50 Shades of Shite we watched last night.
And of course, Army of Darkness had about 3 endings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Mike, what you been watching this week?
What have I been watching? I had a look at the Riot Club, which we previewed some time back.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a bunch of young lads at Oxford University with far too much money. They're part of an ancient club which was formed for the purpose of living life to the full. So excess in all things.
Yeah.
And it's got pretty well lots of people you might half recognise, but nobody famous in it. And it was really disappointing. I thought they got the balance of it wrong. Because, like, obviously with a name like the Riot Club, something awful is going to happen and there's going to be repercussions to what they've done.
Right, yeah.
But they spend, like, 3/4 of the movie setting that up and basically letting us know what a bunch of gobshites these guys are. And then something interesting happens, and then that, in my opinion, should have been the focus of the movie, how they react to what happens.
Right.
But you only get maybe 20 minutes of the consequences and then, roll the credits.
Yeah.
So I thought, maybe a good idea, but not well executed. So
right, yeah. You also saw Voices.
I did, finally.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to see that for a long time.
This is the one with Ryan Reynolds, who has a slight mental health issue and believes his cat and dog are talking to him, and good cop, bad cop.
Yep.
And who else? Felicity... what's her name is in this?
Huffman?
No,
Anna Kendrick is in it, and Gemma Arterton.
Oh, maybe that's who I'm thinking of, actually. Yeah, it is, actually. Yeah.
They are some of the unfortunate females who have the misfortune to meet Ryan Reynolds in his capacity as Psycho.
Yeah. What did you think of it?
I was, again, disappointed with this one.
Really?
Yeah, because it's my old pet peeve of mixing genres. It's kind of a comedy, kind of a horror, and it ends up doing neither well.
Right.
They could have made so much.
But there's been some really good Haramidis.
This was not one of them.
It's like a camel with one hump, but different.
Yeah. That said, I will say Ryan Reynolds was brilliant in it.
Oh yeah.
He really did come across as an absolute nutjob. I thought
he
did
part
well.
Actually, he did. Yeah.
And it was well filmed and everything, but I just, I wanted to laugh so much more, and it just
right. Yeah. It wasn't too heavy on the comedy, really. It was more a dark situation,
Yeah.
rather than even dark comedy.
A cautionary tale.
Yeah. Sean, did you see the Harley Quinn film?
I did not. Is this from Comic-Con, the interview?
Do you want to tell us about what it's about and who they are and so on?
So essentially, this is I met these people on the street at San Diego doing promo for the movie, and there was a lady in particularly good Harley Quinn cosplay, Harley Quinn being the DC Comics character that was created in the Batman animated series by Bruce Timm and Paul Dini. Harley Quinn was in character, chatting up to everybody, and I got an interview with her and also the director of a Harley Quinn film, which apparently takes place in their minds as a fan film directly before the events of Suicide Squad.
Now, I went ahead and watched this.
Yeah, what you think?
Oh my.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's on harleyquinnfilm.com. And yeah, it's brilliant. And she's really, really good. I feared that, fan films up to now, I've never found that they are the quality I always wanted them to be, but this one is up there. It's really good. Yeah, I can see someone coming along and investing in a full feature.
Does it look like there was a lot of money in it, or?
No, it's really good production values. And she carries it. I mean, she's brilliant. Obviously, the direction is great as well, to make it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she's fantastic.
Right.
She's really fantastic in the role. I mean, she really has Harley Quinn down, Yeah. It's really worth a watch. It's only 15 minutes, and it's on harleyquinnfilm.com. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And people can also see the interview I did at some point on the isitabicycle.com site and also on our YouTube channel.
Correct. And if you're watching this live, it's the same channel. Because there's two. So it's, yeah. Right. That's something else I wanted to mention. We're live on YouTube now, by the way, on our Is It a Bicycle channel.
Hi there.
You're just broadening our offering every single week, Steve.
Sure, we had to give it a go.
Do we have a Periscope up this week?
No, we decided to switch and go for the YouTube live. It seems to be better reception from what I've been told.
Sorry, Periscope, but I think you'll find Is It a Bicycle is too big time now.
Yeah.
We're YouTube all the way.
We might Periscope smaller reviews during the week and that kind of thing, but I think the featurette will have to hit on YouTube. Yeah, for sure. I got a bit of a mailbag question this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was contacted a buddy of a buddy, well, actually a listener, a semi-listener nowadays. So the guy who's asking the question...
He listens with the semi, or he only listens to half the episodes?
I'd say a bit of both, actually, knowing him. Yeah, complete horn dog.
I'm a little bit disappointed that anyone could listen with only a semi.
Yes.
But by all means, ask the question, Steve.
So this semi-bearing friend, he has a friend called Andre, and Andre posts this question. He was like, I like these movies, The Man from Nowhere from 2010, which gets a steady 7.9 on IMDb, and I Saw the Devil, which is a steady 7.8.
Okay.
Both of them happen to be Korean movies.
Oh.
So he came to the right guy, I feel. So I threw out a few movies at him, and he said, I've kind of seen those and so on. So I asked him, had he seen Old Boy, and had he seen, The Hosts, and he had seen those. So I threw out a list from then. So if anyone's interested, these are Steve's top 9 picks from the last couple of years. So pens at the ready.
Korean cinema.
It's just, as Mark would call it, subtitle cinema.
Okay.
So we had The Intouchables, which I think we all liked. Yeah. Goodbye Lenin, which is a classic. The Counterfeiters, which is 2007, also got an Oscar. Yeah, it's a classic as well. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, which we reviewed last season, season 8, episode 21. George Scott, which we talked about the week before last. So I think that's worth a look. The Saboteurs, which we talked about last week. I think we all liked it.
Yep.
Romanzo Criminale, which is an Italian mafia style, which runs through several decades. There's 2 seasons of that. That's fantastic. Spiral, one of my favorites. Engrenage. There's 4 or 5 seasons of that. And Bracco, there's 4 seasons of that. So he's got plenty to get him through the winter. Anyway, so
that's a whole lot of catching up to do.
Yeah. So
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve, if let's say somebody wanted access to that list themselves, would it perhaps be available on our website at some point in the future?
It certainly shall be.
Steve's top 9 subtitles.
We're going to throw it up on Facebook as well, on our Facebook page. So, yep.
Cool.
Yep.
And everybody else who has their own suggestions should probably tweet us at Is It a Bicycle or send us an email, podcast@isitabicycle.com.
Or comment on Facebook and tell me how wrong I am. So, yeah, we'll have
that can happen too.
Debate. Okay. Mark, have you seen anything this week you'd like to comment on? Or UFC, perhaps.
Yeah, you beat me to it. So we've got quite a bit of UFC news, haven't we?
I certainly do.
So the main event for the only show that matters to us, the one in October in Ireland, has been announced, and that's Joseph Duffy against the guy Connor beat that moved up in weight.
Oh, yeah, him. It sounds like a Canadian name. Poirier, that's his.
Thank you, Dustin Poirier. And I was listening to an interview with him this morning. I really shouldn't have.
I know, yeah. I
I
was reading so many articles.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting fight. I'm kind of already looking forward to it. But I saw the announcement and I thought about it. And I said to myself, I think maybe this is the UFC I should go and watch. Because I haven't made any effort to get to UFCs in Ireland yet. I think, maybe this is the one. But we'll see. And how about that bantamweight women's division?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty...
Are we allowed to comment?
Rowdy Ronda.
Are we allowed to talk? Yeah, we are allowed to talk about this
Okay.
now, yeah, I think. Yeah.
It's a matter of public record.
Yeah.
Well, the people I'm allegedly friends with on Facebook spoil it 30 seconds after the fight has happened. Like,
Okay.
whenever there's a show on that I know there's a likelihood it could be spoiled on me on Facebook, I delete my Facebook app so there's no chance I'll accidentally go into it in the morning.
All right. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah, amazing again, and it's just fantastic that that it wasn't just another armbar.
Yep.
Yeah.
She kind of beat her at her own game, didn't she?
Is it me? Yeah, she did. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Is it me or she looked bigger than she was?
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't notice that.
She's looking
Who won?
kind of arm wrestlery.
Yeah.
Ronda
Ronda
retained
Rousey
her
did.
title shot.
Yeah.
It was funny, right? Let me tell you from a weird perspective. My parents were up for the weekend, and myself and my dad had planned to go to the cinema on Sunday to watch Mission Impossible, which we're going to talk about later. And the show was on in 45 minutes, and we'd already worked out the travel time from my house to the cinema was 30 minutes. Dad doesn't like to be late. So we're watching the UFC, and he goes, "There's much left in this now." And I said, "Just the main event. It's just I'm going to flick forward through all the the ads and whatever and watch the main event." Like, he goes, "How long is that?" And I said, "Well, it's supposed to be 5-minute rounds." So Dad did a bit of mental arithmetic and got, "We'll be late. Better leave it till after." So I said, "No, it's going to take approximately a minute and a half, I would say, at the most." And he was highly dubious. Sits back kind of with the arms folded, getting ready to tell me at any moment, time to go. But, 30 seconds later, it was over. So we actually watched the fight 3 times to get my 90 seconds worth. And then headed out with time to spare to make it to the cinema. So, quite a show. She put on quite a show. It seemed a bit emotional to me. Tiny bit emotional. But it's funny to say, but I guess clinical and emotional at the same time. She just hammered her. She hammered the girl.
Yeah. The accuracy is pretty unreal. So there's
Shogun and Antonio Ruggiero shouldn't have waited 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
Nogueira needs to retire immediately.
The other Ronda item I just wanted to say was that she had a New York Times best-selling autobiography.
I did not.
Called My
I was
Fight
aware of that. Yeah.
Your Fight, which
I think I know the news item you're going for, Steve.
Yeah. So they're going to make a movie with Ronda starring as herself.
It's not a bit early for a biography.
Well, I think it's the whole issues that she had in getting to where she is, and the obstacles she had to climb over and strive against, and the struggle and that kind of thing, the pulling and dragging.
A film,
so
a film
to get to be champion. A film, yes, a movie.
A film in general should be about the most important time in somebody's life, and it seems like she's done that, and now it's right now. Well, they're probably also going to try and capitalize on the popularity, right?
Well,
for sure, yeah.
Well, just wait till she moves over to the men's division.
Mike.
Keep on predicting it, Mike. I don't think it's going to happen. But next to Conor McGregor, she's the next biggest draw, right? She's the next biggest name.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now that John Jones is gone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Anderson Silva. Yeah. So, anyway, Sean, do you have news this week?
I have a sad item for you. Yeah?
Okay, tell us.
Right, the news then. Joining Dusty Rhodes, Rowdy Roddy Piper passed away just recently. And I, for once, this was not all over my Facebook. I don't know why. Maybe I wasn't on it as much. I was moving over the weekend. So I actually found out watching Monday Night Raw.
Right.
Because whenever they have the opportunity, what they do is they get all the wrestlers, like they show a pick and, from year they were born to 2015 or whatever. And then they go to all the wrestlers and all the people in the back standing on the stage and they ask the audience to rise and then they toll the bell 10 times. And then at the end of that, they play that wrestler's music one last time and show a package about their greatest accomplishments. And Dusty Rhodes was less than a month ago or about a month ago that he passed away. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, one of the best talkers in the business, father to Goldust and to Cody Rhodes. And essentially they played that at the start of every one of their things for a week. So it was just very reliable that I'd get emotional right before watching a bunch of people beat the shit out of each other. So that was this unexpected thing, and it looked so similar to the Dusty Rhodes one that I was very taken aback, and it was clear how important he was to a lot of people because he was the first guy to do, like, I'm going to have people on my show, I'm going to interview them, I'm going to be a prick to them, I'm going to insult them, and everyone's going to love me for it.
Yeah.
Like, that was his thing. He was hot rod,
Yeah.
He had the Piper's Pit. And he had that great quote.
Rhonda paid tribute to him after a fight during the interview because she uses Rowdy, and I think she'd asked him permission to use the Rowdy nickname in her professional UFC career. So that was one of the first things she said already.
I really appreciate that. That makes me like her way more. Because she's involved with WWE now a little bit, Rhonda. She's going to have a match at some point, we're pretty sure, as long as the money's right.
Yeah.
But Rowdy Roddy Piper had that one great quote. He goes, "As soon as they think they have all the answers, I change the questions." like a 30-year career. What a job.
Very good. Okay, we're going to move on. And before we start, we're going to set the tone. We're going to have a pop quiz. It's the return of the pop quiz. That's right. It's a quick one. There's only 3 questions each, right? Right, you ready? Mark, you ready? Is Mark there? Hello, Mark.
I couldn't be any more ready, Steve.
Good man. Born ready.
Couldn't be any more ready.
Did you send Mark the answers again?
No, I didn't know. Mark.
Every time.
How many languages were spoken?
Yes, Steve.
How many languages were spoken in The Saboteurs, which was recently reviewed on this very podcast?
4.
I'm sorry, it was 3. Mike.
Wait. You're counting the 2 different dialects of German as one.
Get out of here.
So it was Austrian German and German German.
Mike, out of 10, what did you give the caper Kingsman?
Kingsman, I believe I gave it an 8.
Oh, did you looking at the answers here? I'm gonna have to. You are. No. I'm gonna have to go back and look. Right, one for Mike. Right, Sean, who starred opposite Dwayne Johnson in San Andreas playing Dwayne's wife?
Ah, shit. I don't know.
Mrs. Johnson.
I don't know. I don't remember. Carla Gugino.
Yeah, Gugino. Mark.
Oh, wait, really?
He doesn't get a point for that.
No, he doesn't. Mark. Is Taylor Swift?
She is.
Yeah, it's true. She is Swift, yeah. Mike. Mrs. Peacock in the Study with the Candlestick game?
Cluedo.
No, the answer is actually yes, she's very game. Sean, do you think Shonda rhymes with Miss Fonda?
Yeah.
No, I'm afraid she doesn't. Sorry, Sean. They're not suiting you today. Mark, true or false? Is Chris Pratt?
Oh, yes, true.
That is true, actually. Mike, what year is Wet Hot American Summer set?
1981.
Good man. Last question. Sean, true or false? Claire Danes' cat, Flumster, has a license to operate heavy machinery.
True.
Good man. It's true. It's true. Jeez. You know what? We've a bit of a tie here. We do, yeah, because in second place came Sean. And you two boys got 2 points each. So it's a tie.
I would like the first answer I gave, which was actually factually correct, recounted.
Sorry, Mark, you're breaking up there. We just can't hear you.
You're going to have a whole lot of Austrians on your case, Steve. You're supposed to be the international man of languages. Don't come
I
down
don't
the
claim
wrong
to
side
know
of
the
this one.
German or differences in German dialects, so, you know, I'm afraid I'm going to have to sidestep that one. Okay.
By making me the winner.
Stand your ground, Steve. Stand your
Agreed
ground.
on that.
So right up. First of our movies, Mission Impossible 5. Mark, tell us about it.
Let me see. Mission Impossible 5 is another Mission Impossible movie where Tom Cruise plays Ethan Hunt. He's brought along Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames once again. And Hawkeye is also in this one, though without his bow. And they have to solve problems that affect the whole world, sometimes quickly. And the way that they choose to solve it is always the hardest possible way of doing it. Some would say impossible.
Well put. Mike, what did you think of that?
See, I find it hard to critically review Mission Impossible because as soon as I hear the theme music, I just get in a good mood
Right.
and I have happy thoughts.
It's kind of like the old Bond movies, isn't it?
Yeah. And, you know, it's not fair on other movies because
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, all they have to do is play the goddamn theme tune and it's like, yeah, that's a fucking great movie. Look,
Yeah.
Ving Rhames is in it. Jesus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of balancing, jumping, shooting.
Holding of breath.
Yeah, not too much kissing, which is a bit disappointing given
true,
Rebecca
actually.
Ferguson was in it.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see more of that, but what
There
can you
was absolutely no pies as well because Ving Rhames seems to have eaten them all.
do? Yeah. Don't you be dissing Ving.
I'm just saying, he's double the size he was in the last movie, like, and not in a good way.
Yeah. He's still the man, though.
He's an animal, like, he's monstrous.
Yeah. Like
He
at
would
the,
totally eat you without salt, like.
like at the end of the day, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, who do you want at your side?
Ethan Hunt or Tom
Hunt
Cruise,
for sure.
either one.
Yeah. So, was it a caper, Mike, that you enjoyed?
It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a caper.
No.
This is very serious stuff.
All right.
The future of the world.
Fate of the world,
hangs in
Steve.
the balance. Yeah. I was on the edge
Fate
of my
of the
seat.
world.
Yeah.
I was wondering, oh my God, what if he doesn't pull it off this time? And there were several moments in this movie where he nearly didn't pull it off.
No.
Like, no, seriously.
No, actually,
seriously.
Yeah, actually. You know what? You have a point there. Yeah.
Oh. But there was actually one moment I'm thinking of now where I had to put my hand over my mouth because mentally I was going, no! But then the rational part of my brain kicked in and said, hang on, that can't be possible. It's fucking Mission Impossible.
Yeah. It's Tom Cruise, man.
But for just that split second, I had my doubts.
Yeah.
And that is a testament to the quality of this movie.
It really is. Because in a film where you know that the impossible is possible, it really seemed impossible.
Yeah.
They made the impossible possible.
What did you think of Simon Pegg in this? Because you had an issue with him with Kill Me 3 Times. didn't you?
Yeah. He's less offensive in this, largely because he's more of a bit character.
Right.
And, you know, he's just there to be the, whatever, comic relief.
Yeah.
And they don't let him get too out of hand, so I wasn't too offended by it.
Right.
That said, I would have liked somebody else to play the part.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But you know.
No, I thought
it's
he was
not
good
my
in the
movie.
serious parts now. He didn't have many, but I thought he carried them well. I mean, look, he's a great actor actually. But no, and I thought that he has this. It's almost pigeonholed persona that you always expect. He's gonna have the silliness.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was too silly. I thought it was well placed, and I have a feeling some stuff hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
But I think there was enough of it in there that he wasn't an idiot in it.
Yeah.
But he was productive in it.
He got a nice suit out of it.
Got a nice suit out of it. That's true. Yeah. I don't think he was as silly as previous ones. So I don't know. Maybe they re-examined the character from
maybe
previous movies. Yeah.
I did have a problem with the bad guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He was a bit. I don't know what's the word.
Hannibalish.
No,
Monotone.
you see, Hannibal has this
Cliche.
intrinsic threat
Well,
about
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Every time Hannibal walks in the room, you're kind of, what's going to happen now?
Yeah.
Whereas with him, it was kind of, you're trying a bit too hard, And
Okay. Yeah.
he looked like a lad that had been bullied severely at school and never quite got over it, but didn't go the Mark Wahlberg route of putting on 40 pounds in the gym.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of taste, but it just didn't ring true for me.
Yeah. He was for sure a stereotypical bad guy,
Yeah.
but he had that face for it. I thought he was very well cast. Whether the character is too stereotypical or too cliched, as you say, Sean.
Yeah.
But I think he did a good job. Sean Harris. Yeah. He was in Prometheus and other stuff. Yeah.
Actually, it has been a weakness of the Mission Impossible movies. Is their bad guys? In comparison to the
Philip
Bond.
Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah. I did like Dougray Scott as a baddie, but in comparison to some of the great Bond baddies, I don't think this franchise has ever seen that level.
Okay.
I don't know, Sean. What do you reckon?
Well, so there's really two antagonists in this movie. And it being a spy movie, these things are never as cut and dry. There's a little bit of intrigue when it comes to spy movies like that. So I thought that one of the antagonists was quite good. I really appreciated that antagonist relationship with the IMF group / with Ethan Hunt. And some great stunt work out of the antagonist that I'm talking about as well. Now, the guy that we're all talking about, Lizardface Fuck, he at no point to me. So he was good when he wasn't talking, right? And then when he started talking, I was like, okay, that's pretty, cliched, menacing. Not really worried about it. That's fine. But then he kept talking. And it was like, not only did he look like someone had invented him to be a bad guy, right? Which was fine, except then it was like, that's a bit much, I can't really take you seriously. And then the way that he talked was also specifically it was over the top, and his dialogue was always, I will say one word or two words, and they will be intimidating. They were laughing at him in my screening. And I was one of them. I was literally like, come on. And it was the worst part of the movie for that to happen, because you have to take that guy as this super serious threat,
Yep.
So I thought that was a bit of an error. As with regard to the romance in the movie, I thought that was handled incredibly well. I loved that there was very little kissage, given the fact that Ethan Hunt's character has been through the ringer in the past two movies with regard to romance. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, there was a lot of temptation put his way, but he didn't take advantage, did he? Maybe he's been burned once too often.
He's just got his mind on the job. Also, he couldn't get too close to her. She kept disappearing. He was always looking for her, but
yeah.
But
I
he
think
knows how to
that
find
girl
her.
has a bright future on the basis of Rogue Nation.
You think? Why is that?
I think so. I think she's got the whole seductive spy thing down really well. And like, when you pick up your cards in poker and you realize you've got like 8s and 9s, but damn it, you're going to play the card the best way you can. I think she's a bit like that. It's like she's probably like a 6, maybe.
Oh,
maybe a 7.
oh.
But in this film, she was able to just
Remember, he used to
wiggle
be a bouncer.
stuff at the right time, and she had the crook of an eyebrow, or she had a facial expression, and they were going, "Oh yeah, dirty bitch." And I think all of that stuff kind of elevated her overall appeal, and I think that she's a bright future, as I said, to the point where she put the hooks in on Tom Cruise, and I was kind of thinking, despite his situation, he was a bit of a lucky bastard.
Yeah. So the girl in question is Rebecca Ferguson, Mike.
That's right.
Yeah, just for your later Googles.
Already done.
I'd say Mike is all over that.
Yeah, I thought she was great.
Got her address and everything.
Yeah, and you know what? Usually we're quite critical of little people fighting big people. Mm-hmm. Usually females and males. I think we've had this conversation many times. But I didn't.
Agent Character was the case in point, I think.
Yeah, but I never. Well, okay, there was a couple of occasions sort of went, yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. But I think there was enough mystique about this girl and enough skill shown beforehand. They thought, yeah, maybe.
And to be fair, she did get flung around a bit.
She did, yeah. So
it's not like nobody could touch her.
Yeah.
There was definitely a few. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Damn that.
Might be
You know what a
struggling to
lot
get
of
up
it
to.
was too, Steve?
Yeah.
One of the things about this film, it's a relatively long film, right, for an actioner, but it built and maintained momentum tremendously well.
Did.
And I thought from the minute you got on the thrill ride that was MI5, it was just driving all the way through.
Yeah.
There was brief moments for planning. Mm-hmm. But you were invested in that because you wanted to see what they were going to do, right? And then you had Simon Pegg come in and told a few jokes to distract you from the lull in the action. Then they were back into it again. And I thought they got the balance of the planning to the action even better than in previous installments in this one, because you never really had time to look at your watch or look around you or any of that stuff. And the screening we saw it in, myself and my dad, after having watched Ronda Rousey do her thing, it was full of children. And I would have thought that it was a fairly adult movie, but obviously it's not, right? You can bring kids in, but there was kids of all ages, like younger than 12, and in their droves in the middle of the screen, and so we immediately veered left to try and put some distance between us and them.
Yeah.
But we didn't hear them once during the show. So not only did it hold my interest, but it held little people whose attention spans were much shorter enthralled for the same length of time.
Really,
so
really
I think it's masterful in the way they told the story and in the pacing.
Really good pacing. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah. The other thing was that you mentioned that the only lulls were when they're at planning stages. Mm-hmm. Do you think Jeremy Renner got a bit of a short deal in this movie? Because that's kind of all he was really involved with. Because we know him as a semi-action hero or as a superhero, but he didn't get a chance in this. He was just sort of like, I'll just go and negotiate and go to meetings and then try and find.
Is he half? Steve, is he half an action hero or an action hero with a semi?
I'll let you decide on that one.
He was kind of a logistics manager in this, wasn't he?
Yeah. And
everybody needs a technical project manager if you want things on time and on budget.
Is that not what Luther was for, though? Or is Luther the heavyweight? Is he just the guy?
No, he was eating.
He just eats and fills doorways and.
He's there to bring food to Luther. Basically.
Well, what else did he do? He didn't do,
he got to look worried, and he was the intersection with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
So that's the outside threat to the very existence of IMF.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he was there.
I saw Alec Baldwin's role I could understand, but I just felt that Jeremy Renner was wasted, and Luther was just sort of like, okay, there's another dude who's been in other ones that's along for the ride to continue the character or something. Yeah.
But if Jeremy Renner wasn't there running interference against Alec Baldwin, Ethan Hunt couldn't have done his job.
Also, if you get Jeremy Renner for a fairly cheap price, given that you have him on contract for a few Mission Impossible films, Throw him in the trailer. Nobody knows how much he's going to be in the movie. You get his whole audience to come.
Yeah, once you bought the ticket,
True.
they don't care.
True. Yeah. Who else was there? Oh, do you remember the scene where they're in a certain theater, right? And there's a guy who's dressed up as a guard, and he's looking very threatening, and he's quite angular, right?
Yeah.
He looks like a young Dolph Lundgren.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first thing I thought when I saw him was
Exactly,
Ivan Drago.
He could have been his son, you know. So his name is Robert Masser, because I actually Googled it, because I was like, is that Dolph Lundgren's son? You know, because he was so like him. So Robert Masser actually...
Hang on a sec. After this movie, the first thing I did was Google Rebecca Ferguson. The first thing you did was Google.
Okay. Different. A second thing I Googled. So, anyway, yeah, it turns out he's like a world record holder and Olympic holder and sort of the biggest sportsman ever in his chosen sport.
Which is what, steely-eyed staring?
Which is wheel gymnastics.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
You know these guys I was going to say who've got a massive hoop. But you know, the big circle made out of bar, right? And they stand, and it's just big enough so they can stand in it. You know, that kind of way.
Okay.
And then they do, tricks on it and spin around and that kind of thing. And you just YouTube Mr. Masser and you'll see plenty of them on there. But it's pretty impressive.
Well, it would be to see a man entering his own ring.
So, anyway, he's obviously going to be getting lots of jobs because he looks very like, Mr. Lundgren. Yeah, he's going to be a good, what do you call it, minion, I suppose.
Yeah.
Henchman.
Or henchman. Henchman's a better word, actually, for him. It's too big to be a minion.
Speaking of minions, did you see that 40-foot minion thing fell over on the motorway this week?
Yeah, in Dublin, in Santry. Yeah. Did you see that, Mark? It was a massive big blow-up minion, 45 feet high, and someone cut the ropes, it turns out. And so it was blown over and went across one of the carriageways outside. So there's pictures of these cars being swamped by this massive minion rolling around the place. It's like straight out of the movie. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah. Actually, we'll post that up as well on Facebook. So, yeah. It's well worth a look. But it was reported all around the world, actually. During the week. Yeah, hilarious. So, Sean.
I thought that they did an amazing job in this movie. Like, this is the main thing for this movie, the action, right? I think that it's Tom Cruise and the action are why Mission Impossible movies get made. And I thought that some of it was just only so, like the theater or stuff like that. I wasn't really all that given a shit about. But the middle, they have an action sequence that goes directly into another action sequence, right? And it's not spoiling it because you see in the trailer, there's an underwater sequence, and you see in the trailer there's also a motorbike chase. That fucking had me going.
Yeah.
The whole fucking thing, I was going, like, just like Mike said earlier, I presume we're talking about the same thing. It was like, no fucking way. No fucking way. Like, oh my God. No fucking way. I was there. Like, I was completely ready. I was like, he's gonna fucking die. He's gonna fucking die. Everyone's gonna die. The movie's over. The movie's fucking over, and everyone's dead. And then it was just so very well done in terms of the cinematography. Even though I presume the cinematography shot I'm talking about, which was like the all is lost moment, I presume that was just CG.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was great, and they managed to inject humor into the action, and then immediately while doing like a chase sequence, and then it really showed to me that they had learned a thing or two from the WWE, because if you don't have believable opponents, right? Like Mike was saying about the villain, right? If you don't have believable opponents, you're not as invested. You're not worried about your hero. But in that chase, I was like, I don't know if Ethan Hunt has the advantage here at all. Like, I don't consider him to be definitively better. And the way that they ended that chase was fucking amazing. It was so good. It was so very, very spy. I don't really think that it managed to get to that height again any point after that, but I thought it was an amazing sequence.
Yeah.
God damn it, motorbikes are dangerous.
And they can result in quite long chases.
Yeah.
A little bit too long, it felt. A little bit, but exciting nonetheless. Yeah, dangerous as, and some of that footage that they took where they're going in and out through traffic, there's a lot of that on YouTube of some Egypts doing the same thing.
Yep.
But obviously the only ones uploaded are the ones that didn't hit trucks.
Yeah.
You know, but they really gave a real sense of speed. Like I say, Sean, you're there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And speaking of real, I don't know if you guys mentioned this before, but you know that sequence at the beginning where Tom Cruise is trying to get onto a plane?
Yes.
So apparently that was Tom Cruise's plane. He literally was like, yeah, if you guys want to use it, like, we can use my plane. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And also it was him. Tom Cruise, like, there was a chassis involved. There was like some rigging for his body. But literally, he went, yeah, just take off. Just strap me in to the side of the plane and take off. We'll get a great shot.
Wow.
And that's what they did. And I'm pretty sure that his plane is smaller than the one we see in the long shots, but still, that's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, all right,
yeah. I wonder if BMW were too happy about this movie.
I'd say they're absolutely delighted.
Well,
considering the amount of BMWs that are in it.
There was a whole lot of product placement.
Yeah.
But I would point out that most airbags go off when a car hits something at 15 kilometers an hour.
Not BMWs.
No, BMWs seem to go off only in a non-survivable crash situation.
Artistic license, Mike.
Yeah.
Artistic license. Yeah.
Oh, finally they got off.
Yeah. So, do we want to mark this?
Mm-hmm.
Sean, give us a mark.
I thought this was good. It still hasn't beaten my favorite Mission Impossible movie, which is Mission Impossible 3. In my head, it goes 3, 1, 5, 2, 4. But it was better than the last one. So I'm going to give Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation a 7.
7. Very good. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, it's your normal mindless shite, but Jesus, I love that. I love that shite.
Yeah, leave the brain at the door.
Yeah, so I'll give it an enjoyable 7.
Yeah. Mark?
I think in the interest of fairness to the art in the films that we watch, I can't go higher than a 7.
Yeah.
But in terms of my enjoyment, it was like way higher.
Yeah.
12.
So I think, speaking for the objective merits of this film, it is a 7. But if you have a pulse at all, stay away from Mike and you will enjoy this film.
Solid 7 for me as well, for the same reasons. Yeah, very enjoyable. Brain at the door. Yeah. Okay. So first of our TV, our only TV this week is Wet Hot American Summer, first day at camp. Sean, tell us about this.
The new Netflix series Wet Hot American Summer, first day of camp, is a prequel to the 2004 film Wet Hot American Summer. It may even be earlier than 2004, that movie. It is about a bunch of campers and camp counselors at Camp Firewood.
It is.
Yep, that's pretty much, I mean, I don't know how to summarize it. Like, literally, I've watched a bunch of episodes of this.
Yeah.
And I could tell you, like, it's about a bunch of eccentric and kooky characters dealing with love, with being, transmogrified into household objects,
so
with radioactive sludge.
Tell us about who are these characters, who play them, and when it's set. The whole timeline.
Sure. So it's set at Camp Firewood in 1981. Characters, you have Amy Poehler and Bradley Cooper as a pair of very theater-centric. A very theater-centric couple, with Amy Poehler really wanting to get some, and Bradley Cooper's character, for some reason, not wanting to stick it anywhere, or even really kiss or touch his girlfriend in any way. You have Christopher Maloney as a chef with a dark past and a dark history with the military. You have
John
Paul Rudd, Ant-Man. You have Paul Rudd as essentially just a guy who thinks he's really cool, trying to pick up a girl who's not really into him. And you have John Hamm as the Falcon, an operative assassin, one of Ronald Reagan's right-hand men. I don't really know. I could just keep going, but it starts to just evolve into me saying, and you have Niles from Frasier, and you have other people. Like, they don't even fully introduce the cast until, like, episode 6 or some shit.
Yeah. There's also, in episode 1, John Slattery, I thought was a highlight of mine. He plays...
he's in it throughout as well.
Who's very over-the-top theatre maestro. Actually, that whole theatre scene was my favourite of the whole episode. Yeah, I have to say that. Yeah. So, what do we think? Mike, I'm going to go to you first.
Didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No. I'm conflicted about Amy Poehler. I liked her in Parks and Recreation, but I've never liked her in anything else I've ever seen her in, including this. And the whole gist of it seemed to be geared up towards people who had seen the original movie and loved the original movie, and were just waiting to get more of the same. But I hadn't seen the original, so when all these characters came on, I was like, okay, that wasn't very funny. You're not very pretty. You're not very interesting. Where's my hook here? You know, I didn't feel any love for any of the characters, and I didn't feel, you know, oftentimes when you get a series that you like, there's somebody in there that's doing something, you know, nasty, and I don't think there was enough nastiness in it. I don't think there was enough comedy in it to really get my interest.
Yeah.
I could see how they were, you know, setting up different characters on the assumption that you're going to binge watch this.
Right.
But I didn't. I only watched the one episode. Maybe had I watched the whole 8 or whatever in succession, I'd have a different opinion. But as a one-off, I didn't think it was great.
I'm right with you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I hadn't seen the original movie.
Okay.
And that's, you know, I did say that one theatre scene, I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And there's that other character, the guy with the bowl cut.
Yeah.
Who is madly in love with this girl, and everyone's like, really? Her? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, it's great to see sort of the, you know, you can picture how they did look when they filmed it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What is it? 15 years ago? Something like that? 14 years ago? But I didn't get there's an in-joke there that I'm not part of because I've not seen it. So
tons of in-jokes.
So and loads of characters that you know how they turn out, and so I didn't get that either. But I did enjoy that theatre bit because it was so OTT. But apart from that, I'd skip it. I was happy leave it. Yeah.
So this is really not my kind of thing. Sometimes I find slapstick comedy funny. Sometimes I don't. This was kind of one of the latter. No, I didn't think it was terrible, but I did get the impression, like you guys had just mentioned, that I was missing something along the way.
Yeah.
Like they were paying homage to things that I wasn't in the loop on. And it seemed all a bit masturbatory for the people involved. Like they all got back together to celebrate this thing that had already happened. And I don't think they were all that pushed to bring anyone else along with them that hadn't been involved originally. So there's probably a huge cult fan base that love this. But I'm just not one of those people, so I don't know if I just don't get the joke. If I can say as a follow-up, and this might sound ridiculous, but I thought the people who were in it were all pretty good. Like Paul Rudd, what a great entrance! But he was particularly good. Like they were all really believing in the roles. Like they're all good actors. They all convinced me. I just the humor just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And you know, maybe it's stylistic. I don't know. I don't think it's bad. It's not bad comedy. It's just not the kind of stuff I usually laugh at. Like. So it's one of these where I think it's a bit Marmite. People should probably try and make up their own mind. But for me, anyway, the jokes just didn't land. Okay, Sean.
I think it was 10 out of 10. 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 10 out of 10
Yeah, so I was thinking about what Mike was saying about, and what Mark was echoing as well. And so I think Wet Hot American Summer the original movie was on Netflix, right?
Okay.
Which means Netflix would have a record of every single time that was played by an individual user, right? Which I think means that once that number reached a certain thing, they could go, okay, it is now financially profitable for us to create a product that is similar and we get this audience. So we should just pay this amount of money to these. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it was specifically meant just for those people, and they didn't really worry about getting others because they were like, we're going to get X amount of people, like a percentage, simply because people watch Netflix shows. Like literally there are people who just watch the new Netflix shows because that's the network that they've come to enjoy. And then there's the people who are going to watch it because, oh, I like Amy Poehler. Or I like Bradley Cooper. He's in a TV show. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And also, if the original movie is still on Netflix, they're going to get a bunch of people who are going to go watch that first.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is ingenious, you know? And I have seen the movie, but it was a while ago. This was like at least 2.5 years ago. So there was a lot that I didn't remember, even in terms of specific character arcs. You know, I remembered vaguely stuff of how they were, but not even what happened to them. So even I was like, I'm not sure what that's either a reference to or if that's a new thing for the show. And I think I might be more a fan of this style of humor. But even for me, there were some things where the practical comedy, I was just like, is it really all that funny to get kicked in the balls? Like I don't know if that's the first episode, but there's like a scene. There's like a scene where a guy they're practicing judo very badly, which is a joke, I get. Whatever, sure. And then a guy gets kicked in the balls and he accidentally, because he's in pain, like lashes out and breaks a board in half. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I get it. But like, and I know that the point often with this show is that it's so sophomoric and so inane and moronic that it's like, you know what I mean? Over the top, and that's the humor of it. But I was only laughing at that some of the time. Like I preferred the like more intelligent and more out of the blue versions of it. Like there's a great scene where John Hamm's character is in a store and some kids come in and start like roughing the place up, and it's like very cliched, like it's a satire, a parody of you don't want to mess with that guy, you know?
Yeah.
But the thing that he does just to show, like just to take them out and tell them that they should respect their elders, is it just focuses on his foot doing like a leg sweep at the air, and all 4 of them fall over. And then he says something badass, lights some matches and throws them in the corner where there is absolutely nothing flammable. And then he leaves and the whole thing goes on fire and explodes. Like that I'm more a fan of when you have somebody like John Hamm who's doing something very different to what we're used to seeing them do.
Yeah.
Which is why Bradley Cooper was my favorite part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like Bradley Cooper, I don't know if he does that impression of a Southern gentleman in the first episode. But every time he does that, I just can't help but laughing out loud.
He did, yeah.
And I was just like, I'm going to be doing this impression even to people who don't watch this show because I really like it. So I don't know. It's definitely a very particular brand of humor, and it made no apologies for that. Which I guess, is, sometimes we rate things on what they're trying to do. So I thought it was interesting, and I have watched half of it.
How many episodes have you seen? 6, is it?
I've seen 5, I think.
5, yeah.
So I've got another 4. Niles from Frasier just showed up.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, they're adding in people who are in the movie in like the 5th or 6th episode. It's crazy.
Okay, so I guess on the Is It a Bicycle standard that you'll be giving it a thriller.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it.
Episodes,
Elizabeth Banks is doing a great job, and so is Chris Pine.
Mike?
Oh, filler for me.
Filler for me as well, I'm afraid. Mark?
Oh, filler.
Okay.
I think filler. I'll never watch any more of this ever.
Okay. Just a note, we got a tweet in just while we were talking there from not too XABI. Not too XABI.
Not too shabby.
Not too... maybe. From
Shabby.
From Mance Trainer. He says, Is It a Bicycle? Thoughts on True Detective. The last 2 episodes have given me hope, but Bit of a shambles? ? Sean, are you up to date?
I like the way you enunciated ?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't tell from your inflection that it was a question.
No.
I think you should always do that, even when you in regular speech.
I know,
you're
it's
not
just
somebody else.
You're going for a pint? ?
Thoughts and True Detective ?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You should do that all the time. It should be your thing.
Sean, can you answer this one?
Yeah, I'm up to date on True Detective.
Good.
I just watched the last episode this morning, in fact.
Oh, okay.
I like that it's come together. There are some characters that I care more about now, and there have been some good scenes, but my opinion is still that it is a good show, not a great show, in part because it's weighed down by what people think it should be.
Yes.
And I include both the audience for the first season and Nick Pizzolatto and everyone making the show in that company.
I am feverishly nodding my head here because I think that it's got the name True Detective. Last year's was just fantastic. If this had been under a different name, I think it would have been just seen as a very, very solid police drama, and it would have been loved for it, in its own right. I think now it's going to have the backlash of, it wasn't as great as season 1 though. Right. It wasn't as good as this and good as that, and I'm sure all the likes and shares and Instagrams and Facebook and blah blah blah. I'm sure that they're down on. On numbers over the last few weeks compared to last season for sure. Yeah. So, yeah.
Is it a shambles, as our Twitter friend
is it a
Not Too
shambles?
Shabby says? ?
No, yeah. Like he says, the last few episodes for sure give you hope. Bit of a shambles. I don't think so. I think that that's viewing it as a police drama in its own right. I didn't set out to see it as True Detective Part 2 because it's an entirely new cast, story, unrelated to season 1. So it's just they're doing the thing where they use this name so people recognize and go, oh yeah, that was good.
If I'm ever up on criminal charges, I want you on my jury.
Was that good? Was that good? Did you like that?
So fucking fair.
Was it? Okay, good. Sean, do you agree?
I don't know. I actually thought it was trying very, 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 very hard to be True Detective rather than saying, being its own thing. I think that it's caught between two worlds. It's let's do all the stuff people liked from the old one, but let's do some new stuff, and it just made it a bit of a jumble. Do I think it's a shambles? It's a semi-shambles.
Our word for the week.
That's it. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Mance. Hope you heard that. Anyway, we'll retweet it back to you. Okay, so next up we have the second of our movies, which is Trainwreck. Mike, do you want to tell us about Trainwreck?
Trainwreck is Amy Schumer as Amy Schumer, wandering through life, apparently with little or no direction, struggling to come to terms with her sexuality, which had been shall we say, misdirected by her father's divorce when she was young, and the film goes from there.
Yeah, pretty good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so no monogamy.
No, monogamy's bad.
That was one of the funniest speeches I've ever seen given to children ever. So let's say your friend has got a doll and you want to play with other dolls. Wouldn't you want to do that? And they're like, yeah, of course. It's so funny.
Let's say there's an ugly doll and somebody's got to play with it.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. Sean, what did you think? You've seen this? Trainwreck.
I have indeed.
Yes.
Written and starring Amy Schumer. I thought that this movie, it took me for a ride, actually, because I was expecting, I guess I'm far too used to Judd Apatow movies, I was expecting a bit of a maybe slightly more down to earth Anchorman type deal or something like that, and the joke is she has sex a lot, I'm like, ha, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's not really what I got.
No.
What I got was a very, very funny comedy with serious dramatic elements and some great performances.
Some serious
I'll start with
cameos as
with
well,
the.
actually. Sorry, didn't mean to
I'll start
interrupt.
with the side roles, the non-main characters. John Cena was a revelation.
Yeah.
As Amy's first boyfriend will say. That was amazing.
Yeah.
The clearly gay bodybuilder, while a trope that we've seen before in sitcoms, never been done better than by that giant man who looks vaguely like Mark Wahlberg with a small hand towel on his cock. That was amazing. I loved it. And you know what? It doesn't make sense that they pulled it off, but this is the gift that the comedy gives to actors and to fans, right? I cared about him. Even though every scene he was in, he was either making fun of himself or being made fun of.
I know, he was a nice guy.
I actually...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I gave a shit.
Yeah.
And even though he was an idiot and he was clearly a ridiculous character, I cared for him and I felt bad for him,
Yeah.
And they managed to do that with all of the characters. It was kind of interesting as well for me being a non-sports, non-American person. When you have LeBron James and various other super famous people either being mentioned or being in the movie. So that was kind of interesting for me because I still got almost all the jokes just because I could presume. You know what I mean? When everybody was really angry at a certain sports guy, even though I didn't know why, I was like, yeah, that's funny. I get it.
Yeah.
And I really liked Amy Schumer. She's going to be the thing we should probably talk about the most. She wrote a great movie and she acted very well in it. There's one scene in particular where she gives a monologue that is entirely, there's humor in it, but this speech is entirely sad and it's heartbreaking, And I really wish, in the very back of my mind, right, while I was reacting to it, I was welling up, in the very back of my mind, I was going, oh yeah, good job writing that serious scene, Amy Schumer. Now people will take you seriously. And now that you've written that scene and performed it for yourself, you can get other roles as well that also have serious elements.
Yeah,
good job doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It made me...
Yeah, in the same light, she also did a lot of set pieces where I presumed, ad-libbed some of the stuff. But it was quite obvious that that's what they were going for too, I felt, in a Melissa McCarthy kind of movie way. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah. I guess the point that I was driving at was just that it was a bit cerebral for me, and it detracted from my involvement within the movie,
Okay.
It was did you set up this plot to manipulate me and people who can give you jobs?
Yeah.
Because the word isn't manipulate. It's just they want to bring out an emotion in you.
Yeah.
But because it was so one-to-one, I was going, Amy Schumer's career is why this scene is here. Rather than going, I'm really sad right now that has happened to that one character. And I think the ending might have been a bit... they still can't escape a lot of the trappings of the romantic comedy, but they do a great job of the way that they deal with them. It was original in the way that they deal with all of those trappings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was unfortunate that they couldn't move beyond them.
Yep. Mike.
This is a tale of two halves for me. I thought I was totally blindsided by John Cena. I'm so used to seeing him as, an ex-Marine sorting out small town bad guys or whatever. And to see him, getting involved in a role where he's mercilessly taking the piss out of him, relentlessly.
Yeah. He was a great character, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. The relationship between Amy and John Cena, it was hilarious. I was crying laughing.
Actually.
I was literally crying laughing at certain parts of it.
Yeah.
However, that set me up for a fall because the rest of the movie, when the other characters came in, just couldn't match that.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for more hilarity to ensue, and it just wasn't coming. It kind of started getting sad, and then it started getting emotional, and I stopped giving a shit because they weren't making me laugh anymore. And by the end of the movie, I was nearly asleep. I was actually laughing for the wrong reasons at the end of the movie. The big scene at the end, I was just like, oh Jesus Christ, don't do this. Where's your pride?
Right. But as Sean said, they kind of had to.
Well, they didn't. They didn't have to.
It's a rom-comedy, rom-comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, they just lost the plot halfway through it. I felt like they overdid the LeBron thing. You know, that was referred to over and over. They overdid the Amy sleeping around thing. Her doctor boyfriend didn't work for me at all.
Bill Hader.
Bill Hader. Every time he came on screen, I just I just started to lose consciousness.
Right, okay.
I didn't find it funny or emotional. I was just, oh Christ,
Yeah.
make it end. So it's a tough one to judge because it gave me so much joy in certain parts,
Yeah.
and so much pain in others.
Did you like the cameo, the Daniel Radcliffe and Marissa Tomei movie?
Yes, I did very much so. Yeah,
yeah. I thought that was great. Actually, yeah. I did like LeBron James. I thought he was really good. Mm-hmm. Even though he's playing himself, I thought he was really good. Yeah. You know, not someone you can hide, I guess. Who else? Randall Park was in it. He was fine. Mm-hmm. But I think that's just the character that he had to play. And same as Vanessa Bayer, who's played Nikki, the girl who can't stop smiling.
Yeah,
that girl. I'd have liked to have seen more of her, and I really thought that was a good character, and I thought, there's a barrel of laughs in that character somewhere, Tilda Swinton played Diana, the boss. Mm-hmm. She was great.
I really don't like Tilda Swinton.
Well, I didn't like her character, but I thought she was brilliant at it, I thought she was quite funny. Quite funny, and it really gave the strong boss asshole thing a good go. So yeah. Overall, it was funny, made me laugh. Yeah, would I watch it again? Probably not, but I think it was entertaining and fit the bill for the night in question.
Fair enough.
Can I? Oh, sorry. I was just going to ask a question. I'm sorry, Mark. I don't want to cut across you. I was wondering if, and maybe this isn't the right time to talk about it, maybe we should leave this for the marking, but I was trying to think of a better romantic comedy that I'd seen recently.
Two Night Stand.
The Saboteurs.
Two Night Stand is by far a better movie.
I mean, that's a year ago now, though. That's
is.
like October or something.
But that's the one that I thought of off the top of my head, because that was pretty good. I'm sure we've seen others.
Yeah.
I'm not really a connoisseur of rom-coms.
Yeah, Mark Leonard is the man you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Rom-coms.
Come on, Mark, tell us.
Well, what would you like to know, Steve, about the wonderful blending of romance with comedy?
Tell us about this movie, Mark. What did you think?
Well, I've enjoyed your review of it.
Oh,
I think you guys are excellent reviewers. I think you should record that shit and put it on iTunes, because the people have a right to know.
Fair enough. Sean, do you have more to add to this, or do you want to mark it?
The movie that I just realised was What If with Daniel Radcliffe, which is hilarious because he was in this movie taking the piss out of rom-coms.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only one that I could found that measured up to this movie, and I don't even know which one of them I like better. So yeah, I mean, if you're asking like what my last thing to say about it is, I'm ready for American, I think.
Okay, hit me.
Fuck yeah, it's, you know what? I learned things about myself in this movie, and I laughed the whole way through when I cried. So I'm going to give it an 8.
Oh, nice. Mike?
If I had only watched the first half hour of this movie, I would have given it an 8.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I thought, just felt too much on the joke of Amy Schumer being like a 3-pointer or a 10-yard girl. And that really got old for me. So overall, I'm going to have to dial it right back to a 5.
5. Right. Yeah, I think I enjoyed it more than you did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I laughed a bit more at different things, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, so I found it entertaining. I'm going to give this a strong 6.
Okay.
Strong 6. It's not quite the 7, but a strong 6, yeah, for sure. Okay. Next up, we'll have some previews and Come to a Bicycle near you. All right, then the first one we saw was Two-Lander. Sean.
Derek Zoolander, who we remember from a movie at least 10 years ago now. We don't really know much about the plot from this trailer, but there's going to be a second Zoolander movie, and there is some discussion about how that's going to be spelled, whether it will be 200-lander or Zoolander I. This first teaser trailer is literally just have a look at Ben Stiller doing the Zoolander face and the Zoolander voice again, with a bunch of visual and audio references to stuff from the first movie. Apparently the plot is going to be about Derek and Hansel. He's so hot right now. Derek and Hansel having to deal with being old in the world of modeling, and also something silly, something like hugely ridiculous and world-threatening.
Right. Yeah. I can't wait.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. I love the
I
silliness
can't wait
of
for this movie either, but this trailer wasn't the greatest trailer in the world. Every time the Stephen Hawking's voice came on after they'd given up on The Brief History of Time,
Yeah.
it wasn't funny. It kind of killed the joke.
Yeah.
And then Derek Zoolander would talk and you go, oh yeah, man, I love that movie so much. And he's still so funny. And then the voice would talk and you go, fuck you for ruining this.
Yeah.
So I know we're not technically reviewing the trailer. We're talking about whether we want to see the film or not. But
Yeah, it's not
the greatest trailer.
Not the greatest, though. So we're all agreed we want to see this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next one we looked at was Deadpool. Do you want to tell us about this, Mike? Or do you know enough about this to tell us, Mike? Or maybe we should hand it over to one of the Leonard A's.
It's just some more Marvel crap.
Okay, well, so one of the Leonard A's there, please.
You're more Marvel crap, Mike.
Quick, before this heathen ruins it for everyone.
So it is not a Marvel movie, but it is a Marvel comic book property.
Right,
Deadpool, which will be coming from the same studio which owns the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, which is 20th Century Fox. Deadpool, Wade Wilson, the Merc with a mouth, the regenerating degenerate. It's essentially about a guy who gets cancer, mercenary dude with a lot of skills, and they're like, well, if you do some stuff for us, we can save you, we can help you. And he's like, I just want to help out my family. He's like, he's a good guy, maybe not a hero considering that he kills people all the fucking time. So some shit goes down, some shit goes wrong with the procedure. He's kind of a little crazy. And this trailer just shows us him cutting a swath through a bunch of motherfuckers with great glee, frenzy, and breaking of the fourth wall. What's interesting is that they released a trailer for the trailer the day before they released this trailer.
Right, milking it, yeah. Yeah, I like this fourth wall breaking that it does. Yeah, and... I'm looking forward to this. It seems like it's a bit more adulty. It's certainly not one for kids. I mean, there's too much swear wording, as they call it in the US, and too much gore, too much detail on gore, more than gore itself. It's not quite the Avengers now. And this looks interesting. I want to see this. Yeah. You don't want to see this, Mike? Is that what you're telling us? I'd have thought you'd like this. The humor, anyway.
Not a fucking chance I'm watching this shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
we'll see, Mike.
We'll see, Mike.
We'll
see. Mark, I presume you're all over this.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to see Steve.
Yeah. It's great. Check it out if you haven't seen the trailer. It's worth a look. Last one we saw was The Night Before.
Can't remember the last time I laughed as much at the trailer as I did at this one. Oh my god.
Really?
It's Seth Rogen and your man Love Hewitt. What's his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's the guy whose name I completely mangled. And they who's the other guy? There's another guy with them.
Seth Rogen? Josh Rogen.
No, it's Anthony Mackie who plays the Falcon.
That's the guy. So the three of them were BFFs, and they spent every Christmas together. But now one of them's about to have a baby, and the other guy is an American football famous player, and they can't meet up for Christmas anymore. But the guy is about to have a baby. His wife gives him a free pass to spend a Christmas night with his buddies, and gives him a whole lashing of drugs of various types. and he takes them all, and hijinks and hilarity ensues.
Yes. So is this like The Hangover but at Christmas?
Looked an
Very
awful lot
like The Hangover Christmas.
Yeah,
Good synopsis, Steve. We should have just let you synopsize it. But that scene when he's in Roman Catholic Christmas Mass wearing a giant Star of David on his Christmas sweater, talking about how we didn't kill Jesus. That's not what happened. And he vomits in the middle of whatever church it was. It was St. Peter's, I don't know. Oh, or St. Patrick's Church.
I see Kanye is in this.
Oh dear.
Kanye West, and so is Miley Cyrus.
I saw Miley make a brief appearance,
Yeah. So obviously they're...
I can't wait for it. It's going to be at least 14 times as funny as the trailer. Means there's a real risk of me swallowing my tongue.
I think as well they're doing a very clever thing where they have a storyline for the people with families, right? You have Seth Rogen playing pretty much the exact same role as he played in Neighbours or Bad Neighbours, which is I'm trying to be a good, responsible adult dad person, but I want a party. And then you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt going, it's everything's sad. I mean, my friends know where they're going in life, but I don't know. Oh my God, a girl who can solve all of my problems. I love you. Will their relationship work out, or will they have an argument 2/3 of the way through the movie that they then resolve before the movie ends? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, that actually applied in Trainwreck. I meant to mention it. Yeah, could see it as soon as she hooked up with him. It was like, Rita, do you think they're going to break up before the end of this and then get back together? Yeah. Might have a bit of a box ticking going on there as well. Yeah. I'm not.
But it looks
forward
fun
to this. I'm not looking forward to it. What about you?
Oh,
Hate The Hangover. Don't like Seth Rogen. Hate Kanye West. Fuck this movie.
Synopsized nicely, Mike. Yeah. Okay, so we half are and half aren't looking forward to this. Then. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, that's the last of previews for this week. Actually, it's the end of the podcast. Thanks everyone who've joined us live on YouTube. We hope to do it again next week. Please email us or in the comments box. Leave some comments or questions or some material. Damn it, somebody give us material. And we'll post those things on Facebook like we said we would, honest. And tweet us at isitabicycle and visit us at www.isitabicycle.com. So from Mike, Mark, Steve and Sean.
Steve.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. What time will we be doing the live YouTube premiere of the next episode of
We
Visit
don't
a Bicycle?
know. It could be.
Let me explain the
know.
concept of live, Sean.
It could be between 9:30 and 10 that we start. GMT on a Wednesday. Yeah.
UK time.
Okay.
UK time.
We will.
Which would be 1 p.m. PST, Pacific Standard Time.
I'll take a word for that. Yeah. We'll send a tweet anyway before we start. How about that?
Cool.
Lovely. Right. Ruin my monologue. Right.
Thanks for killing the mood, Sean.
Sorry, I wanted people to actually be able to come listen. I'm sorry for being the bad guy.
Okay, so from Mike, Mark, Steve and Sean, stay classy.